Welcome to Joy in the City True Stories Edition. I'm Bethany Marshall, and for our first Christmas themed show, we want to show you what God is doing in our city. Coming up, we'll hear about a Christmas gift giving program called AdoptAChild.
And the love that you have for these children.
We'll also hear from a local singer, songwriter about a Christmas song and story behind it. All that and more coming up now on Joy in the City True Stories.
God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in many mighty ways. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today.
Our first story today features a Christmas gift giving ministry from Pleasant Valley Assembly of God called AdoptAChild. Martha Hollen, who has been running this for many years, talks about what it is and how it got started.
The AdoptAChild program started with Marcy Hoover, who was a teacher in our missionette program, and she saw a need among the children at Christmas time. We had quite a few children who you can tell by what they wear and so on that it's tough. And she decided that she would help them a little bit with Christmas. And so she started out, I believe it was 1991, if I'm not mistaken. It was either 1990 or 1991. And she started out with the program, and she did it the first year. But it's not only a thing for need. It's more of family. These kids are our family. And when you have family, you love them and you give them something at Christmas. And that's essentially what we do. This year, probably close to 150 kids. And if you know anything about some of the parents, they don't know what sizes their kids wear. So the first thing we do is on Wednesday night, we have a couple ladies, and they measure all the kids. And I take those measurements, and I take the Sears catalog and match them up and find out what size the child is. And of course, we know their age by what group they're in. And when we create a stocking, and we put on the stocking, girl or boy, whichever, and we say the age and the size, and then we put it on the tree for the people to take. And then they go and buy an outfit of clothes and a toy appropriate for the child, and hopefully warm, casual clothes that the kids can get a lot of use out of. Then we have other stockings on that tree, and they say toy only, and again, they're for a boy or girl.
After receiving the donated items, a handful of people come together to deliver to many homes in our community. Martha tells us a little about that experience.
I have family groups. I have parents that bring their kids to take them to deliver. I have husband and wife teams. I have friends. I have different ones that go. We match them up, and they go, and we call the people. We have the numbers, so we call, so we're sure that someone's home. Some people will stand at the door and take the gifts and say thank you, and that's the end of it. And that's fine. And other people will say, oh, come in, and then they'll say, is it all right if they open the gifts while you're here? And they want the children to see. And there's a lot of different experiences. We have to track down people lots of times because they moved last week, and then we have to see where they went. And Pastor Chris is really good at this. She keeps track of the kids, and she knows the children. She loves the children. She works with them all, and when we need any information, that's who we tap into because she's the gal on the job.
Since the early 90s, the ministry has been consistently growing and providing a wonderful Christmas for so many children. Martha tells us about this journey.
Well, we started out with 51, and now we're up to 150, so you figure out the increments there. A lot. It has grown because our groups have grown, and because, again, they stay. You see the same families year after year after year. Many, many times, because I get in a hurry making my list and stuff, I'll get a duplicate on my list, and I'll end up with 2 gifts for 1 kid. But God never makes a mistake, because there'll be some little kid that comes in that needs that exact same thing that I have. And it's just awesome sometimes to see how God works, how his hand is in everything and how he moves. It's just, it thrills me. There's nothing that I can say more than that, because we know that God is there in our lives. But every once in a while, he just kind of waves at you or hits you up on the side of the head and says, hey, don't you realize that this is my program, and it's for my children, and it's to show my love. And all of that is just what it's all about. There was one time, and it's been quite a few years ago, my husband and I went to a house to deliver gifts. And there was a grandmother there. And she answered the door, and the children were not home. And she had us come in, and I was taken back by the fact that there was virtually no furniture in the house. House was very clean, but virtually bare. And she took the bags, and she was an elderly lady. She took the bags and she asked us to wait. And she went up the steps, and she said she was going to put the gifts in her closet. And she came back and she gave us a hug, and she said, at least they'll have something for Christmas. And it just broke my heart. But yet it warmed my heart at the same time, because I knew that we had met a need. And that's the kind of thing that stays with you over the years. Like I said, it's more than gifts. It's the affirmation for these children who have, lots of them, so little affirmation, so little encouragement. It's just something that has stayed with me over the years and spurred me on to do what we do. One little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, she came running out, and she'll grab you by the leg. And so enthusiastic, so tickled, you know. That girl now is grown up. She's about 25, and she has children of her own. And again, the families stay with the church. You see them grow, but you see that core of children that this has made a major difference in their lives.
As you can see, Martha is passionate about this, and we would like to share the opportunity for you to support this growing ministry.
Well, the big thing is and everybody's busy at this time of year. You want people to come in on the 17th of December and wrap gifts. They're not too encouraged about that. But they do come. They do come. And that and looking out for bargains, you know, in January and February. And it has to be a real bargain for me to pick it up, because our finances are very limited. God supplies. And I know that a lot of people think that's a cliche, but it's not. And it's the delivering, it's the wrapping. The hardest thing for me is when I have to find a certain size. We go to the store and there's none there. That kind of thing. You know, people that would be willing to go out and really search and find. Because, you know, you never want this to be a negative. And when we are wrapping, like for a whole family, say we have 5 or 6 kids, I have big tables in my big room there. And we'll lay all 6 gifts out on the table, because that's how they're going to be laid out in that home. And you never want this to be a negative thing. You want them all equal. Either they're all Pintos or they're all Cadillacs. You can't have one and the other. And that kind of thing. Sometimes we have to, well, we do have to supplement lots of things. But it's really a good thing. When they take a stocking, I ask that they pray for these kids, because that's where all the answers are. You take a stocking and you go to the store and you buy a gift and whatever, and you're done. No, you're not done. If God has laid on your heart to take this stocking, and you want to do this as an outreach and as that, then pray for them. Pray that they have godly men and women around them. Pray that they're healthy. Pray that their minds work. Pray that they're protected, and that they learn what God would have them to learn, and that knowledge would be sealed with them. That's far more important than any gift you can give them. This little girl was molested, and she came to me. She was in my class, and I told her, I said, I don't know why things happen the way they do. I don't know why bad things happen. I can only tell you that Jesus will help you, and Jesus will be there. And when you get scared, she was in a situation where she had a lot of fear this was going to happen again, a lot of fear of different things. And I said to her, when you get afraid, just call on the name of Jesus, and he will help you. Ask for him to protect you. And I went home one day, and on my answering machine, she called me, and she said to me, Miss Martha, she said, I'm no longer afraid. She said, I did what you told me to do, and I called on the name of Jesus, and I'm all right. All of this is what life is about. It's not about the tinsel. It's not about the gifts. It's not about that. It's about relationships that you build with kids and the love that you have for these children.
We would like to share the opportunity for you to support this growing ministry. Simply call the church office at 944-1948, and our staff will be glad to get you all the details needed. Today we have a second story to bring you around the theme of Christmas. We recently sat down with singer-songwriter Dawn Kauffman Pardoe. She tells us a little about her journey.
I got saved when I was 4, so it goes all the way back to my dad. My dad was in a ministry for 11 years called the Fourfold Gospel Quartet, and it was just something that was birthed into me, I think, because we were on the road very young. And but when I was 4 years old, I got saved, and then I just loved people, so I was always at church camp. And then I became a counselor, and so I got that leadership bite, to want to be out and used by God in any way that he could possibly use me. And then, so of course, since ministry was singing for me at a young age, I just followed that where he opened every door, and went through some hardships along the way, but your life takes turns that you don't expect sometimes, but God's faithful, and he continues to keep that dream alive if you continue to be obedient and follow in the steps that he calls you to walk in. So I'm very thankful that ministry was something that God just birthed in me from day one, and it's a passion. It's a huge passion, and the more that you know how much he loves you, and the more that you receive that love, the more passion that flows through you, that you want to just continue to do it no matter what, at all costs. So
Dawn has developed the ministry, New Dawn Ministry. She explains what this ministry is all about.
I was involved in a couple ministries. I went through a ministry called 2020 Vision. I started that right after I left the family ministry that I was in for 29 years, and then I started in that, and then after that went into Overflow, which was another worship ministry that I did. And after that, there was a duet ministry that I did for a while that went into a trio ministry, and there was a little bit of rough times there and some hurt there, and I took a little bit of a sabbatical. I took a break, and I was kind of broken for a while, and I asked God, is this really what you want me to do? Am I supposed to keep doing this? And so through a lot of fasting, praying, searching, seeking, he birthed New Dawn Ministries. And I knew right away, just when he gave me the title, I was sleeping, and I woke up, and it was, it's one of those things where you're out like a light, and you just wake up, and it just pops into your head, and the vision just then opens wide open, and you just know this is where I'm supposed to be. So New Dawn Ministries was New Dawn for me, starting over, and it just felt like something was just breaking forth. So it just seemed very, I don't want to say symbolic, but definitely prophetic, that God it was his title, not mine.
A few years ago, Pleasant Valley Assembly of God used one of Dawn's original songs in their musical, A Christmas Remembered.
It was been a few years. I don't even know if I know the date that song was written, but I remember the experience. I was actually just hanging out after church with a couple women, and this one lady came to me, and she started to share her heart, and it was the same woman that I had talked to a few months back, and then later on she came to me again, and it was just seeing people not be able to let go of stuff that they have given to the Lord over and over and over again. This song just burned in me to write a song about letting things go. And I know for myself, when I let something go, sometimes you do pick it back up, because it's like you're walking away after getting up from the altar, or you just literally hit your knees at your bedside, and you just say, God, I'm just going to let this go from now on. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to pick this up again. And then you do. And
Jesus, come and mend my broken heart. Oh, Jesus, come and heal my wounded soul. I've carried this for far too long now, and it's time, oh, it's time to let it go.
so it's just, this vision came to me where I saw this big basket at the foot of the cross, and not only do we go and we put our things at the cross and let it go, but we're putting them in the basket so we can't even see them anymore. It's like we put them down in there, the basket's there, we walk away, we turn around and look, and they're not visible to us because they're just at the foot of the cross in this basket. And so when the song says, now walk away and be free, it's just, I don't know why I titled it The Basket. I feel like that was just the main vision that I had for the song, so I just felt like there was no other title that there could be. So.
For his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Put your weapons down, he's already won this fight. Yes, he has. He says, look to me and see your victory. Now go, my child, leave it here with me. Now go, my child, and be free.
Dawn is a passionate worshiper and gifted songwriter. Another one of her songs got the attention of us here at Joy in the City, and we asked her to share a little about that song.
The song actually came from, I didn't want to sit down and just craft a song. I wanted it to be something that God, and when I was walking with my friend Suzanne, we all know Suzanne Schaefer, she's my good friend, but she, her and I used to walk together all the time, and I said we should write a song together, because she's a writer and she writes beautifully, and I just value her opinion so much with certain things that we talk about. And she's like, that would be cool. So I wanted to write a song with her, and I asked her to help me. I wrote a couple lyrics, and she said, what if we put something in there like, his love is so big and so large that it saves the whole world, and yet it still lives in our hearts. And I thought, man, that's powerful. That's really powerful. So the whole song was actually built around that, and I thought that's what the more is. It's that God's love is so huge and so it's just so big, and it's for us. It's not just Christmas. It's us. It's all the times.
Comes around every season, Christmas time again. The stores are filled, the gifts are bought, and the busy never ends. Bake the cookies and light the tree and hang the wreath on the door. These things can be important, but oh, there's so much more. Yes, it's more than just a story that we've heard so many times, and it's more than a baby born one starry holy night. It's about the gift he gave when his love did its part, large enough to save the world, yet still live in your heart. So as we celebrate this season, I pray you won't forget that miracles still happen, and your story's not through yet. And as the snow falls to the ground, and I'll sing you my song, don't let it end with Christmas. Show Jesus all year long, 'cause it's more than just a story that we've heard so many times, and it's more than a baby born one starry holy night. It's about the gift he gave when his love did its part, large enough to save the world, yet still live in your heart. Oh, 'tis the season to be jolly and spread some love and cheer. What Jesus died for all the world, all the seasons and all through the years. So happy holidays or Merry Christmas. What really matters most is that your life reflects the Father and the love he came to show. So the lesson that I've learned here, I pray you too will see. Oh, that it all begins right here, right now, in the hearts of you and me. 'Cause it's more than just a story that we've heard so It's more than a baby born one starry holy night. It's about the gift he gave when his love did its part, large enough to save the world, yet still live in your heart. It's large enough to save the world. It's still living your
If you would like to schedule Dawn to sing or speak for a service, gathering, or conference, you can contact her through her website at www.newdawnmintp.com. You can also find out up-to-date information by liking her Facebook page. Simply search Facebook for New Dawn Ministries. Lastly, in our talk with Dawn, we saw such a humble servant and woman of God, and we asked, is there anything else you would like our viewers to know about you and your ministry? Her response shows her heart and her love for Jesus.
If I could leave one more thing, is just to always stay, to always stay aware of the presence of God in your life, because it will change your life. We go about our day and we think, I'm going to make a t-shirt. I swear I'm going to make a t-shirt someday that says, God is not a devotional book. Because that's where people leave God, on the back of their toilet, or on their nightstand, or in their living room on the coffee table. And they leave the house thinking, oh, I didn't get to my devotions today. I didn't get to seek God today yet, but I will later, God, I promise. And God's thinking, I can go with you. I can ride shotgun. I can be with you all day long. I don't have to stay in the house while you go to work. And I just have this vision of him saying, take me with you, So that's my biggest thing, is I'm trying to portray, when I go out and I sing and I minister, I leave everybody with that. It's like his presence is so real. It's tangible. If you can just get a hold of that presence, it's tangible. And you're missing out if you don't make him a part of your day. So
that's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Joy in the City True Stories. Be sure to join us every Monday and Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. as we share challenging messages from Pleasant Valley Assembly of God. Then we will return next Friday with another edition of Joy in the City True Stories. Until then, be encouraged, because God is moving in our city.
God is on the move.